So I want you to start off today by just painting a picture in your mind.
Oh, okay. I love a good visualization.
Right, so close your eyes for a second. I mean, unless you're driving, of course.
Yeah, please keep your eyes on the road if you are.
Exactly. But if you can, imagine a luminous, completely white void. Just endless.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
And right in the middle of this perfectly blank space, just suspended in midair as if, gravity just decided to take the day off, is a scarf. Just a soft beige wool scarf.
Wow, yeah. It's a very striking visual hook. Almost ghostly when you really visualize it, just floating there alone, completely isolated from any human context.
Ghostly is like a really great way to put it. And today, we are bringing you a deep dive into a very unique stack of sources that are centered entirely around that ghostly image.
It's a fascinating collection.
It really is. We are exploring a conceptual art document known as a plaquette. And for those unfamiliar, a plaquette in this context is basically a multi-layered multimedia text.
Right, it's not just a simple essay.
No, not at all. Our source material today includes visual concepts, fragments of poetry, really dense academic essays, and even a blunt dive bar manifesto.
And we should probably mention the cultural touchstone that inspired all of this right up front.
Absolutely.
Because for the pop culture aficionados listening, you might already have an inkling of where this is going based on the words beige scarf alone.
Right. It's iconic.
Yeah, this entire artistic document is directly inspired by Taylor Swift's song All Too Well.
Which is, a song that is arguably the defining modern anthem about how physical objects trap our emotional history.
100%.
But our mission today isn't just to review a piece of pop culture art or, look at a picture of a scarf.
No, it goes way beyond that.
Way beyond.
Yeah.
We are using this incredibly layered document to examine a much deeper, really universal question. And that is, why do ordinary objects hold on to our heaviest memories?
It's something everyone experiences, but we rarely dissect it.
Exactly. We're going to figure out the mechanics of that attachment through the eyes of a poet, an Ivy League academic, and a cynic sitting on a bar stool. So, okay, let's unpack this.
Let's do it. So the document establishes the emotional landscape right away by focusing on the physical nature of the object itself.
Right.
It describes that suspended beige scarf, but then it adds this crucial conceptual detail. It says, its folds preserve the memory of a body no longer present.
Man, I found myself dwelling on that specific line for a long time.
It's heavy.
It is. It's like a paused frame in a movie. You know when you're watching a really intense film and you hit pause right in the middle of an action sequence?
Yeah, everything just stops.
Right. The action is completely stopped, the characters are frozen, but the physical tension of the scene is perfectly preserved on your screen.
Oh, that's a great analogy.
The scarf is that frozen frame. The person is gone, but the shape of their presence is still trapped in the wool.
And if we think about how a scarf actually functions, that movie frame analogy holds up perfectly. Because when you wear a thick winter scarf, you don't just drape it.
Right, it's not a necklace.
Exactly. You twist it, you tie it, you pull it tight against the cold. It literally takes on the topographical shape of your neck and your shoulders.
It really does.
So the text is suggesting that even when the person takes it off and disappears from your life entirely, those physical folds remain. They act as like a mold of an absence.
A mold of an absence. That's beautifully put. And the plaquette then builds on that physical tension by offering up some incredibly quirky, almost fragmented poetic statements.
Yeah, the transition into poetry is really interesting.
It is. Let me read a few of these lines.
Yeah.
The imagery hits so hard. One is, the forest never ends. It resets. And then there's this one. The scarf holds more than photographs do.
Okay, let's linger on that claim for a moment because
It's a bold claim.
it is. The scarf holds more than photographs do. This really gets to the heart of how our brains process different types of information.
Yeah, because usually we think of photos as the ultimate memory keepers, right?
Right, because they provide a literal visual record of the past. But a photograph is flat. It's two-dimensional.
You just scroll past it on a piece of backlit glass.
Exactly. A scarf, on the other hand, captures touch. It captures scent. It has actual physical weight.
That distinction makes a lot of sense. You can't wrap a digital JPEG around your neck to feel warm.
No, you definitely can't.
The tactile nature of the object demands something from you physically.
Yes, it bypasses the rational, observational part of your mind and goes straight to a sensory, bodily experience.
Which is so much more visceral.
Completely. That physical interaction is why a piece of clothing can trigger an emotional response far faster and honestly far more violently than simply looking at a picture.
And that violent trigger is captured beautifully later in the text. It says, "We are thrown into the back seat of a sentimental Subaru."
I love that phrase so much.
The sentimental Subaru is just brilliant.
Hmm?
Because it's not a luxury car, it's not some romantic carriage, it's just a mundane, everyday vehicle.
Exactly. It's relatable.
But my absolute favorite line in this whole poetic section is this one. "A crumpled receipt teaches metaphysics."
It sounds absurd on the surface, doesn't it?
A little bit, yeah.
Like a piece of trash teaching a branch of philosophy.
It does sound crazy, but when you think about the how and the why of it, it's honestly devastating.
Right.
Because think about it. You buy 2 coffees, you shove the receipt in your coat pocket,
Right.
and 6 months later, you put that coat on and find it.
And it all comes rushing back.
Yes. And why doesn't a digital bank statement do the same thing? Because the digital bank statement wasn't there.
Oh, that's such a good point.
That tiny, crumpled piece of thermal paper was physically present at the moment of the memory. Finding it suddenly proves that the past actually existed.
It's tangible proof.
Exactly. It proves that time is moving and that something has been permanently lost.
It forces you to confront the reality of time moving forward against your will.
Which nobody likes doing.
No, we fight it constantly, and the text perfectly captures the frustration of that confrontation with the line, "Forgetting requires a permit you never receive."
Man, a permit you never received.
It's so bureaucratic.
It's like being stuck in the DMV of your own mind. You just want to move on. You've done the therapy, you've deleted the numbers.
You fill out all the emotional paperwork to forget, right? But the bureaucratic system of your memory just denies the request.
Just stamp denied.
Denied. The memory stays filed away in the crumpled receipt, or the back seat of the Subaru, or the folds of the scarf. It frames memory not as a personal choice, but as this inescapable trap.
Which brings up another really fascinating line from this section. It says, "Time thickens when the other is gone."
That's a very evocative phrase.
It is, and I've been turning this over in my head. Because if time thickens when the other is gone, as the poem says, is the scarf acting like a physical clock for that thickened time?
Oh, I see what you mean.
Like, it's no longer ticking away seconds. It's just sitting there.
Yeah.
Heavy with the accumulation of absence.
That is a brilliant way to interpret it. Normally, time is fluid, right? It just passes without us really noticing.
Right.
But grief, nostalgia, heartbreak, they change the actual viscosity of time.
Viscosity, yes.
It becomes thick, it drags. So the object, the scarf, becomes the instrument that measures how heavy and slow that time has become since the person left.
As beautifully poetic as all this is, it's easy to romanticize this pain in poetry, but human beings have this desperate need to categorize the irrational.
We do. We can't just let it be.
Right. We can't just leave it at thickened time. We have to analyze it. So how do the intellectuals in this document try to explain this phenomenon?
Well, they try to tame it. The document actually pivots from poetry into 2 distinct analytical viewpoints. You have the curator's note and the Ivy League note.
Okay.
This is where we really see the human need to build frameworks around raw emotion.
So let's look at the curator's note first. It imagines the scarf sitting under glass in a museum exhibit.
Very clinical.
Very. The curator writes that the scarf floats as if preserved outside chronology. They state very matter-of-factly, no body inhabits it, yet presence persists.
Oh, right.
And then they drop this thesis. The object survives the relationship that once gave it meaning. Memory settles into matter and refuses to leave.
Memory settles into matter. It's treating memory almost like dust or some kind of physical sediment.
It just coats things.
Yes, it drifts down through the air of your life and eventually coats the objects in your apartment. But then the Ivy League note takes that museum description and attempts to give it a dense, university-level breakdown.
Oh, this part is amazing.
It really is.
The academic note suggests that the scarf could be fully understood through the framework of, and I hope you're ready for this, residual ontological adhesion, or ROA.
Good old ROA.
The text actually throws a sharp elbow at academia here with a self-aware joke.
Oh, I love this part.
It adds, as everyone knows, acronyms are important. Without them, academic language would collapse into readability.
It's so funny because it's so true.
It is. They are trying so hard to distance themselves from the messy reality of a breakup by turning it into this sterile acronym.
Exactly. But joke aside, the underlying concept of residual ontological adhesion is quite profound if we actually break it down.
Okay, let's break it down.
So ontological refers to the nature of being, the core of existence.
Right.
And adhesion is the physical act of sticking to something. So ROA describes the persistence of meaning after the disappearance of its original context.
Okay, let me push back on this academic framing a little bit, though.
Sure.
Because the text says the object ceases to be just an object and begins operating as a repository of accumulated presence. It maintains a structural relationship between absence and recognition.
That's a mouthful.
It really is. Is residual ontological adhesion just an overly intellectualized way of saying we can't let go of a grudge?
That's one way to look at it.
To me, ROA sounds exactly like emotional static electricity.
Oh, interesting.
Like, you take off a winter sweater, and the shock just clings to you when you least expect it. It's annoying, it's clingy, and it's just stuck to your winter wardrobe.
Your static electricity analogy actually illustrates the academic point perfectly, though.
Well,
Yes, because it is clingy and annoying, but what's fascinating here is why that emotional static clings to some objects and not others.
okay, why?
Well, the Ivy League note doesn't just invent an acronym, it cites data.
Of course it does.
To support their theory of ROA, they reference a double one-eyed survey of 10,000 forgotten possessions.
Okay, a double one-eyed survey is such a wonderfully weird bureaucratic phrase. But what did they actually find by looking at 10,000 forgotten things?
The finding is the crucial pivot of the whole document, really. They discovered that individuals were significantly more likely to preserve objects associated with incomplete stories rather than completed ones.
Wait, really?
Yes.
So we keep the broken things, not the resolved things.
They-
Like, if a relationship runs its natural course, ends amicably, everyone has closure, a completed story, we are more likely to just throw the scarf away and donate it.
We let it go.
But if it ends abruptly, with unsaid words, or a screaming match in a driveway, an incomplete story, we keep the scarf.
Yes, because the unresolved nature of the narrative is the very glue that creates the adhesion.
Wow.
The human brain despises an open loop. We crave resolution. So when a story is incomplete, the mind keeps trying to write the ending. We hold on to the physical object because, on a subconscious level, the brain views the object as a necessary tool to finish the story.
That makes the act of keeping a box of an ex-partner's things under the bed feel much less romantic.
Doesn't it?
Yeah, it feels much more like a cognitive malfunction. We're just trying to close a loop.
And this leads the academic to ask a truly mind-bending philosophical question at the end of their note.
Okay, lay it on me.
They invite the viewer to consider whether memory actually resides in our consciousness, or whether our consciousness merely visits physical locations where the memory has already settled.
Hold on, let me wrap my head around that.
It's a big concept.
The academic is proposing that the memory of that specific winter isn't actually stored in my brain.
Correct.
They are saying the memory literally lives inside the physical wool of the scarf, sitting in my closet. And when I open the closet door and look at it, my brain is just taking a field trip to go visit the memory.
Yes. It completely inverts how we assume human memory works.
That is wild.
We take for granted that we carry our past inside our heads, but the ROA theory suggests that our physical environment, our scarves, our crumpled receipts, the backseats of our cars, are acting as external hard drives.
External address.
Yeah, they're holding the memories for us. And our consciousness just wanders through this physical landscape, periodically logging in to check on the past.
That is incredibly cool to think about, but also a little terrifying.
Just a little.
It means we are essentially living inside a minefield of our own past experiences, constantly tripping over external hard drives of unresolved grief.
It's a very heavy, paralyzing way to view your living room.
Which is why the final section of this document is so essential.
Absolutely.
Because the terrifying implication of that academic theory is that we are helpless,
All right.
trapped by our objects.
Right.
But if you take that high-minded Ivy League theory down to a local dive bar, you get a much blunter reality check. We step out of the museum, leave the lecture hall, and walk right up to the bar stool.
The barfly note.
Yes.
This is where the abstract theory hits the dirty pavement of everyday life.
It is so gritty and real. Let me read it to you because the tone shift is incredible.
Go for it.
The barfly says, you ever find an old scarf in the back of a closet? Not an expensive one, not an important one, just a scarf. And somehow within 3 seconds you're remembering an entire winter, 3 arguments, 2 train stations, 1 stupid conversation, and a person you haven't thought about in years.
I want you to notice the pacing of that sentence.
So fast.
It perfectly mimics the actual neurological cascade of a triggered memory.
Oh, you're right.
It starts slow and mundane,
Right.
an old scarf, back of a closet, then boom, 3 seconds. Winner, arguments, stations, conversation, person. It's an absolute avalanche of context collapsing onto you instantly.
Anyone who has ever cleaned out their closet during spring cleaning knows exactly what that 3-second avalanche feels like.
It's overwhelming.
It bypasses your rational mind completely. Before your logic can step in and say, hey, it's just a scarf, your emotional center has already downloaded that entire horrible winter right back into your chest.
And how does the barfly react to being hit by this avalanche?
They react in the most refreshingly human way possible. They say, that's ridiculous.
Because it is ridiculous.
It really is.
To be completely derailed and emotionally ruined by a cheap piece of fabric on a random Tuesday afternoon makes absolutely no logical sense.
The barfly doesn't stop there. They go on to completely dismantle the curator and the academic in the next 2 lines.
Yes, they do.
They take a sledgehammer to the idea of residual ontological adhesion. The barfly says it's also exactly what happens. The scarf isn't sentimental, you're sentimental.
The barfly shifts the locus of meaning entirely.
Right back to us.
Exactly. The curator said the memory settled into the matter. The academic said the object was a repository holding the memories for us. But the barfly looks at them both and says, no, it's just a piece of wool. The wool doesn't care about you.
Here's where it gets really interesting. The final punchline of the whole document is, the scarf is just sitting there quietly, waiting for you to do all the work.
Such a great line.
I love that so much. It completely pops the academic balloon. I want you, the listener, to think about your own closet right now.
Yeah, take a mental inventory.
Think about the junk drawer in your kitchen or the glove compartment of your car. How many inanimate objects are in there just quietly waiting to put you to work, waiting to make you do the heavy emotional lifting?
If we connect this to the bigger picture we've been building, the barfly is synthesizing the whole experience by injecting human agency back into the equation.
Right.
The Ivy League note claimed the object preserves a network of significance. But the barfly correctly identifies that human beings are the engine actually running that network.
We're the engine.
Exactly. The scarf doesn't contain the memory. The scarf is just the ignition switch.
The key that starts the engine.
Precisely. You turn the key, but you are the one burning the fuel.
Oof.
You are the one expending the massive amount of emotional energy required to resurrect the winter, the arguments, the train stations.
Wow.
The object is completely passive. You are the active participant, even if you don't want to be. You are the one who never received the permit to forget, so you just keep doing the work.
So what does this all mean? We've gone on quite a journey with this one image of a floating scarf.
We really have.
We started with a striking conceptual art piece, inspired by Taylor Swift's All Too Well. We saw it operate as a poetic vessel of memory, where time thickens and folds preserve a missing body.
Then we watched the intellectuals try to tame the irrationality of it.
Right, with all their frameworks.
Framing it as an anomaly outside chronology, inventing ROA to make the emotional static electricity seem scientific, exploring the terrifying idea that we don't hold our memories, but rather our memories hold us.
And finally, we ended up at the dive bar with the brutal, honest reality check.
The best place to end up.
It really is. It's just a scarf, and we are just hopelessly sentimental creatures doing all the emotional heavy lifting ourselves because our brains refuse to let go of incomplete stories. It makes you really reconsider the physical inventory of your life, doesn't it?
It absolutely asks you to audit your surroundings.
So, to everyone listening, consider this your personal audit. Think about the crumpled receipts, the faded movie tickets, and the backseat Subarus in your own life.
What's hiding in your closet?
What are the objects you're holding on to? And more importantly, thinking back to that Ivy League survey, why are you keeping them?
That's the real question.
Are they souvenirs of a completed happy story? Or are you holding on to an incomplete narrative, secretly hoping the object will somehow write the final chapter for you?
It's a difficult question to answer, honestly. Often the objects we ignore the most, the ones shoved furthest to the back of the closet, are the ones carrying the heaviest unresolved weight.
And that brings me to a final thought, something I've been mulling over since we started exploring this text. Let's assume the barfly is completely right.
Okay.
Let's say the scarf is just an empty vessel, a passive ignition switch, waiting for us to do all the emotional work.
Right. It's just wool.
What happens on the day you finally decide you are done doing the work? What happens when you bag up that scarf and donate it to a thrift store?
Oh, wow.
When a total stranger walks in, buys it for $3, and puts it on to brace against the winter round, when does all that residual ontological adhesion just wash away in the laundry?
That's a haunting thought.
Or, without them ever knowing it, does a microscopic piece of your incomplete story suddenly wrap around someone else's neck,